Hey, this is Brent with Lykins Motorsports. This is old Junkie Junk Jr., the 302. And we're in the midst of starting a valve spring change project for today. If you remember from last week, we did our best to find a valve spring that would work within the constraints of these cylinder heads with the install height and with this stupid step that's around the guide. And I thought I had picked out a pack valve spring that would, it was a beehive that would sit down over this and would work with everything. The catalog says one dimension, and when I ordered the parts and got them in here, they were completely different. So it would not even begin to go over this step. This step is 1 inch in diameter, and the springs were supposed to have been an inch 030. They were 915, so we were a no-go. So had to send those back and try to find something else. I ended up with another pack alloy spring, smaller diameter, just a single spring with a dampener and a steel retainer. So I just did a quick valve spring height check. We are at an inch 770. And at an inch 770, we have about 150 pounds on the seat and just a touch over 300 over the nose. So I'm going to roll with it. So yeah, we're going to just go through here and map out all of our install heights to make sure that they're the same. And I've got some shims that'll fit in around this step and still be on the spring pad. And we'll adjust all of our install heights and get our springs changed out. All right, so I moved over to the intake valve. We're getting an inch 845 here. That is too tall for our spring. It's not enough spring load. So what we'll end up doing here is I'm going to stick a 60 thousandths shim underneath of it. On the exhaust side, we only have, when the valve is closed, we only have 520 thousandths between the seal and the lock. I'm sorry, the seal and the bottom of the retainer. So we're going to have to do some finagling here. Unfortunately, I don't have any plus 50 thousandths locks for these retainers. They're a 7 degree. So might have to order those in, but what'll happen is it'll move our retainer up 50 thousandths, which will give us 50 thousandths more clearance here, so that would put us up to about 570. And we'll have to just come back and shim up underneath the spring to keep our install heights the same. So we're at an inch 770, a 50 thousandths lock would put us at 1,820. And then we go back with a 45 thousandths shim or a 60 thousandths shim. So I'm going to try this intake side with a 60 thousandths shim and see where it gets us, and also check our retainer to seal clearance, but I'm sure we have ample on that side. Okay, checking in between. So we got 620 there. So yeah, we got plenty of room. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to be able to change out all the intake springs today and wait on some valve locks. Got an LSM valve spring compressor. It doesn't really line up with the holes for the rocker arms in the GT40P head. So we got our Irwin quick grip to hold the other side down. I already got this one changed out. What I'm going to do now is just mock up a push rod and a rocker arm, just to make sure we don't have any clearance issues between our retainer and our rocker arm. Good to go. Okay, so one is done. I'll put a checking spring on this guy, just so when I roll the engine over, the valve won't fall down. But let me show you something that will come in handy when you're changing valve springs. If you write down the firing order, 1, 3, 7, 2, 6, 5, 4, 8. Those are called companion cylinders. So right now I'm working on cylinder 5, piston 5. If I look over to the other side, then number 3, grab a pin light. Number 3 piston should be at top dead center. And there it is. So when you're changing valve springs, without having to crank the engine over multiple times, I can go from this one to that one and don't have to do anything. So we got an inch 794. So within a few thousandths of the other side. This will be my standard operating procedure, just to stick, well, it's 2/30,000 shims underneath each intake valve, so we can knock these out quick. So if you're wondering why I'm not changing valve seals, here's the reason. All the stems are dry as a bone. So no need to mess with the valve seals. We'll do that at a later date. All right, so 2 down, 6 to go. What I'll do is I'm gonna get a checking spring on this dude over here so he don't fall down. And then we'll roll our engine over until we get this number 2 cylinder on top dead center, and then continue on. Okay, we got number 3 and number 2 intake. So we just did number 2, so we can go to number 8 cylinder. And our piston should be at top dead center. You can see it there. So we'll hop over here and do this dude. All right, so we're on number 2 intake, and I'm still taking install height measurements 1785. So they're staying pretty consistent. And get this knocked apart, get this next spring in there. All right, it seems like we keep getting delayed, but we are taking a couple of steps forward. So we got all of our intake valve springs, retainers, locks changed. And as soon as the other locks come in, I'll get those on the exhaust side, check them out, make sure everything's okay. So we went through our valve spring checklist. It physically fits the head. It gives us a seat and open low that we can work with based on the several cams that we have coming. The coil bind clearance is good. The retainer to seal clearance is good on the intakes. We're going to fix that with the exhaust. So we are making some progress. So maybe we can make it a goal to have this little dude buttoned up next week. Here's what I got in terms of intake manifolds. I snagged 3 intakes from Mr. Joe Crane. This will be the first one. So this beauty is I think an early 80s 302 intake manifold. So E3, I guess that would be an 83. It's a performer, guys. 139, 140 CFM. So that'll be a good first intake manifold to try out. We'll see what happens. I'll show you the couple others. These guys are twins. This one has been worked 193.4 CFM average. So ports look a little bit better on this one. That'll be the second intake that we try. I'm going to try to do all this on one day, and I've got one more to throw on there. This one still has the packing peanuts from where I pulled it out of the box, but this is an Edelbrock Performer RPM. .300 CFM average. So this would well support the capability of our cylinder heads even after they're ported. The only difference between this and other intake manifolds would be the length of the runners and the plenum design, which could give us a benefit at higher RPMs, but we'll see. So got some good stuff coming. Our E303 cam is here. I've got a custom hydraulic roller that I had Bullet grind for me. It's been ordered, and it'll be here in several weeks. So we got a lot of testing to do. And I thank you for sticking around for all of it. Hope you guys are learning, and especially hope that the data that we get will be worthwhile to everybody. Hope you're having a good week. If you haven't taken time to subscribe, please subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss out on all the cool Ford stuff coming through the shop. Hit that like button. Want to remind you that we do have some Lykins Motorsports swag in the store. You can scroll down a little bit and see all of those. We do have some shirts put up with the Triple J project on them if you want to support the project. And I think so far you guys have chipped in between $200 and $300 on this, so I really appreciate that. That helps out tremendously and helps offset some of the costs that I have. Even stuff, you know, as just as simple as gaskets and all that stuff, it adds up. So I thank you all very much. Hope you're having a good weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.